Hey guys, this is Austin. Recently, we took a look at a $400 gaming laptop, but this time we're going to see what happens when you take it up a notch. This is the Lenovo Y700. It's a 14-inch gaming laptop, which for $750 has a lot going for it. So the first thing I see is it actually looks like it has like a carbon fiber finish. I mean, that is definitely plastic, but it actually looks pretty nice. Inside here, we have the power cable, some paperwork, what I assume is the power adapter, which is actually pretty big. Open this guy up, and not only do we have the 14-inch display, but we also have what's actually really well built. There's very little keyboard flex. It's a backlit keyboard. It's all metal around the palm rest. This feels like a pretty premium laptop. For ports, it's pretty straightforward. We have a power adapter, a single USB port, as well as headphone and microphone. And then on this side, we have two more USB 3, HDMI, and Ethernet. This is definitely a gaming laptop, but I'm glad that Lenovo went a little bit more subtle with the styling. For the most part, it's just a black laptop with a few red accents. Sure, maybe like the speakers look a little bit gamery, but for the most part, once you close it up, it's actually a fairly understated looking laptop. Compared with the Inspiron 15 that we did a video on a few months ago, the Lenovo is a lot smaller, which I like, especially if you're going to be taking this to something like school. It's going to be a little bit more portable, but also really does look a lot more understated. While this is not a bad looking laptop, the whole Spider-Man aesthetic is not going to be for everyone. One of the big advantages is with the display. So this guy is rocking a 14-inch 1080p IPS panel, which looks a lot better than the TN panel on the Dell. Now while this looks good as is, for right now you can actually get this exact same model with a 4K display on Amazon for the same price. Now sure, it won't be able to game at 4K, but for normal use that is going to look really nice at 14 inches.
Hey guys, this is Austin. The Galaxy Note 7 was one of the hottest phones of last year.
Terrible puns aside, the speakers are pretty solid here. So they're actually front facing, and from the looks of them, they're actually reasonably big. They don't get super loud, but no complaints. What is pretty good is the keyboard. So like I said earlier, it is going to be backlit, which is nice, and the travel is pretty decent. Lenovo does a good job with keyboards usually. Now the trackpad isn't quite so amazing, so it's totally usable, but it doesn't use the Windows Precision drivers, which means that it's fine, but for pretty much anything more than a quick little bit of use, you're going to want a mouse. Inside, this guy is powered by a quad-core i7-6700HQ, 16 gigabytes of DDR4 memory, as well as Radeon R7 M375 graphics. It stacks up pretty well compared to the Dell. Now while it is a Skylake processor compared to Kaby Lake on this guy, it's going to be an i7 versus an i5, which I would definitely prefer. It has twice as much memory. It also has a 256 gigabyte SSD on top of a 1 terabyte hard drive. This guy only has the SSD. The main thing you're giving up here is that 1050 Ti on the Dell. Now the Radeon graphics should be pretty decent here, and it is $100 cheaper, so let's see how it performs.
First up, we have CSGO. Now this is by no means a new game, but it still runs pretty well on the Lenovo. We're getting somewhere between 60 to 80 frames per second, and this is with everything cranked up on high settings at 1080p, as I get shot in the face. Next, we have Shadow of Mordor. Now this is a little bit of a newer game, and importantly, it looks a lot nicer than CSGO. Now the issue here is that we do have to turn the settings down just a little bit. So right now we're running at 900p on medium, and we're getting anywhere between 30 to 40 frames per second. It is playable, but it's not the greatest experience in the world. I think that's kind of a trend with the Lenovo. It can definitely handle gaming, no doubt, but for a lot of newer titles, you are going to have to turn the settings down to around medium or so. One game the Y700 can definitely handle is Overwatch. So again, here on 1080p at medium settings, we're anywhere between 40 to 50 frames per second. It's a pretty good experience, but one of the nice things about the Lenovo is it can handle more than just gaming. Taking that same gameplay footage that we just recorded and bringing it inside Adobe Premiere, you can see that this is also not a bad editing PC. So with stuff like a Core i7 and 16 gigs of RAM, inside Premiere it actually runs pretty well. Now to be fair, this is only 1080p footage, but we are playing it at full resolution, and even stuff like scrubbing through the timeline is nice and smooth. The Lenovo Y700 definitely isn't a perfect gaming laptop, but there's a lot to like here. The screen is great, the specs are pretty solid. The only real issue here is that the graphics could just be better. But for the price, there's not a lot to complain about. So as always, I'll have a link to check this guy out in the description. And I'm curious, would you want to pick up the Y700? Let me know in the comments below, and I will catch you in the next one.